gone ahead and joined us, so I think it's a good time for us to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and start us. So a couple of housekeeping rules. I'm not sure how many people have used Zoom before, but if you could please keep your microphones muted unless you have a question. And if you do have a question, go ahead and type it into the chat box. Charlotte, my coworker, will be monitoring the chat and will answer any of the smaller questions that you have and compile the rest of them for answering at the end. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out and a thanks to our sponsors, LyondellBasell and Coca-Cola Southwest Beverages. Without them, this program wouldn't be possible, and we're grateful for all of their support. So everybody here already knows the value of rain barrels. They're a wonderful way to save water. About 40% of Houston's water consumption during the summer months is outside for lawns and gardens, and rain barrels provide a wonderful opportunity to use a renewable source of rainwater and really save a lot of water. The first thing to consider when getting started and installing your own rain barrel is placement. Where do you want it? The key is going to be staying close to a gutter. You don't want to go any more than about 3 feet away, but you also want to find somewhere that drains out onto concrete or some other impervious surface that would then be draining out into the street. The goal here is to slow the water down and reuse it and put it back into the ground. So you really want to stay near to your garden or water or next to your water hose. Our rain barrels are made out of recycled drums from Coca-Cola. So to create the pressure that's needed to push the water through into the hose, you need to raise it up. I like to use solid concrete blocks, bricks, or pavers because these rain barrels can weigh several hundred pounds when they're full of water, and a very solid base is necessary to keep them from tipping over. You want to make sure that the blocks are nice and even and don't have any slant to them. Otherwise, your barrel could risk sliding off. One thing that a lot of people have questions about when installing the rain barrels is mosquitoes. We do live in Houston and we do have a lot of mosquitoes in our area, but our barrels come with a kit that is a sealed system. That means that there are no gaps in between the gutter, the kit, and the barrel. So mosquitoes aren't a large concern, but there are a few tips and tricks that you can use to prevent any mosquitoes that do come around. One of which is when you install your diverter into your gutter, you can place some old pantyhose or other thin mesh around it to prevent any mosquitoes from coming down the gutter and into the barrel. You can also drill small holes around the lip of your barrel, being careful not to penetrate into the interior of the barrel to help drain the water out that could sit from the top. If you're still concerned about mosquitoes being present inside the barrel, there are commercial mosquito dunks which introduce a bacteria that eats the mosquito eggs and larvae. They're available at most big box stores and construction stores such as Home Depot or Lowe's. You can also add a little bit of cooking oil, so a vegetable oil or corn oil, into the top of your barrel through the removable hole in the top, called a bung. You'll have to do that every time you drain the barrel or after any large rainstorm to make sure that the cooking oil remains inside. Another option is to use a simple hand washing soap such as Dawn dish soap, and for that you only need a very small amount, and that blocks the top level of water and prevents the mosquitoes from laying any eggs inside the barrel. Now, you may have noticed that the barrels, as you have them now, are a very translucent white, and they could be filled with some liquid. That's because these are recycled syrup drums from Coca-Cola. The first step to preparing the barrel is going to be to wash it out. You can remove the top, dump out whatever is inside, likely a mix of water and syrup, and then wash it out using a hose. And if you really need to get in there, use a long-handled toilet brush, preferably a new one. After you do that and you let your barrel dry out for a little while so that there's no liquid remaining in, it's time to start sanding. This is a crucial step because these are food-grade barrels, and the surface is designed to prevent anything from sticking to it. While that's a benefit on the inside, on the outside, it can lead to paint peeling off over time and allowing light to penetrate into the barrel. This is a bad thing because when light penetrates the barrel, it allows algae and other nasty gunks to grow inside that could be harmful to your plants and is just generally unsightly. When you prepare to paint the barrel, sanding roughs up the outside surface enough so that the paint clings to the barrel itself and discourages it from peeling off and flaking off over time. I would recommend using a power sander and starting off with a higher grade grit, around 80 grit. That'll go ahead and get the top layer off. And then if you want things to really smooth out, you can go higher and higher up to around a 120 to 200 grit sandpaper. I recommend a power sander because these are large barrels and it can take a long time to sand it by hand. However, there are a lot of nooks and crannies, especially along the top of the barrel, that are common sites for paint to start peeling. Those you may have to do by hand, but you really want to pay close attention to this top lip, the underside, and the interior along the top of the barrel. These are the places that receive the most wear when you're working around in your garden, putting stuff on top, or moving your barrel around. So extra care is needed in these areas. After you sand your barrel, you definitely need to give it a couple of coats of solid primer. I recommend a nice white primer, such as the Extreme Bonding primer that's available from Sherwin-Williams, or a comparable product. You want to get an outdoor primer, especially a bonding primer, because that clings to the surface of the barrel much more strongly than something like an artistic or an interior primer. I give my barrels 2 coats of primer just to get a jump on blocking out the light and to ensure that I give a nice, even, solid base before I start painting. When I do begin to paint, I choose solid colors because they do the best at blocking out light, especially darker colors. So a nice, even gray like I have here, a black, a dark blue, or even a green will be much more effective at blocking out light than a lighter tone. If you do want to give your barrel some personality, I recommend painting the dark coat first, and then going over the top of it with the paint color of your choice. Many people even choose to put designs on the barrels to make it look like wood, or to put artistic designs like flowers or stars. Really, it's your choice. We're lucky that we live in Texas, and no laws are able to restrict our use of rain barrels in our neighborhoods. But many homeowners associations do have regulations in place that tell you what color it can or cannot be, and generally how it can best fit in with your neighborhood. Make sure you check in with yours before you paint and install your rain barrel. After you paint your design on, I like to put on a clear coat top coat. That really seals the paint in and prevents it from degrading through the action of UV light or any branches scraping up against it. It's really a good way to make sure that the hard work that you do stays where you put it. Now, after you have painted, sanded, and picked out a spot for your barrel, it's time to actually start construction on it. There are a few things that you're going to need in addition to the kit that you already have. You're going to need safety glasses, gloves, a drill, and some silicone sealant. Now, you're going to hear me talk a lot about silicone sealant over the next couple minutes. And that's because this is what actually creates the seal between the kit that we have provided and the barrel itself. I recommend using a clear, waterproof sealant style of silicone because they're inexpensive and really easy to find. You can find them just about anywhere. So the first step to actually getting your barrel installed is to install the spigot. This comes in two parts: the actual spigot that attaches to the hose and the threaded rubber seal that attaches to the barrel. The first thing to do is pull out your set of red circular saws and attach that to the bit. To start with the spigot, you want to use the very smallest bit that is available in the kit. Take that and insert it in any power drill. Make sure it's good and tight. I'm going to adjust this here for you so you can see what I'm doing. You want to select the front of your barrel and measure about the same width as the saw up. So that's about 1 inch or 2. And that gives you a nice even surface on the side of the barrel without reaching down to where it curves into the bottom. Once you select it, start slow and let the drill do most of the work. You may have to hold the barrel. And there you have it. After you have the hole drilled, place silicone sealant all around the rubber bit. Bend it in half into a U shape, like so, and then insert into the barrel. It doesn't matter which way it's pointing because it'll fit all the way around. After that, screw in your spigot. Now, the next step is going to be installing the inlet fitting from the side. I'm not going to drill all of these because I know that was a bit loud. So I'm just going to show you where to place it. What you want to do is you want to turn your barrel and select the location that is closest to your downspout. Use the medium-sized hole saw and drill a hole approximately 3 inches below the lip of your barrel. Inside the barrel, there is a thick plastic piece where the lip meets the side of the barrel. And you want to make sure to get slightly below that lip. You don't want to go too far down because then you won't be able to fill the entirety of your barrel up. But you also don't want to go too high and risk hitting that piece and not having your barrel sealed. Once you drill that hole, again, place the silicone around the edge of the unthreaded rubber gasket that's included with your kit. Bend it in half and then insert into the barrel. That is the fitting where the diverter hose is going to connect the gutter to the barrel. When you're ready, measure using the diverter hose where you want to place it. Place the diverter on your gutter. The important part about these diverter hoses is you don't want them at a sharp angle. If you have it too high on the gutter, it'll create a lot of pressure within your barrel and you risk creating leaks. But if it's too low on the gutter, then you won't be able to push any water up into your barrel and it will never fill. The easiest way to think of it is the top of the diverter hose that is connected to the barrel should not be below the level of the bottom of the hose that is connected to the gutter. This allows water to flow into the barrel, but also back out once the barrel is full. Create a mark on your gutter where you want the diverter hose to go. When you place the diverter, ensure that you are placing it on the correct side of your gutter. The most common sizes for gutters in our area are 2 inches by 3 inches or 3 inches by 4. This is a 3-inch by 4-inch gutter. So I want to place my diverter on the side. Our diverters are exactly 3 inches wide and designed to catch all of the water from a 3-inch gutter. So if you have a 3 by 4, place it on the side. If you have a 2 by 3, place it on the front. When you're ready, take the large hole saw and put it in the drill. This is the point at which you're going to need your gloves and your glasses, because when you're drilling into a gutter, it can very frequently produce small sparks or shards of metal. And when you're done, the edges around the gutter can be very sharp, so use an abundance of caution. It is sometimes difficult to cut into the gutter itself. So you want to go slow, take your time, and let the drill do the work. Once you have the hole drilled, you again can coat the inside of the rubber gasket of the diverter with silicone. Squeeze the sides and insert all at once. You don't want to twist it or turn it because, again, the sides can be sharp and that can cut the diverter itself. Make sure that the cup within the diverter is facing up at all times. This is what catches the water and diverts it into your barrel. Once you have it inserted, use the provided screws to secure it onto the gutter itself. Then, coat the inside of the outlet with silicone. Attach your diverter hose and plug it in to the water inlet that is attached to the barrel. After that, your barrel is installed. It's that quick and easy. So at this time, I believe there are a few questions. I'm going to walk over and Charlotte, if you wouldn't mind giving me a few of those, I will carry it to somewhere that I can hear.
Okay, so I think we just had one question, and I tried my best to answer it, but maybe you can chime in as well. The question was, do you have any suggestions for how high to raise the barrel?
Okay, Charlotte, I think I have a better chance of hearing you now.
Yeah.
What's our first question?
So our first question was asking for suggestions on how high to raise the barrel. And I gave a quick answer, but you might want to elaborate on that.
So I would suggest raising your rain barrel a minimum of 6 inches and no more than 2 feet. This is because you want enough pressure to push water through the hose, but not so much that it will create leaks within the barrel itself. So you can place it closer to the ground if your yard, for instance, has a large slope. But if you are working with just a very flat area, 6 inches is about how much space you need to actually build up pressure to push water through a hose.
Great, thanks, Ben. And that's the only question that came in. Oh, one more. What if you don't have a rain gutter?
That is an excellent question. If you don't have a gutter, you can still use a rain barrel. The reason that we like these rain barrels is they have those wonderful holes on top. If you don't have a rain barrel, or if you don't have a gutter, I suggest using a rain chain. And I will send out some links to different rain chains after this so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But a rain chain is basically a plastic or metal chain that you attach to the soffit of your roof and then drape down directly into the top of your barrel. What you want to do is you want to find an area where 2 parts of your roof connect to form a V. This will naturally divert rainwater into your rain chain, and then the water tension, the surface tension of the water, will allow it to trickle down the rain chain and into the top of your barrel. If you do choose to go with this route, I suggest buying a wire mesh drain filter that is large enough to fit around the hole on the top of the barrel. This will be your best bet for preventing mosquitoes from entering into your barrel.
Great, thanks, Ted. Our next question is, would a dark-colored spray paint work on the barrel?
Absolutely. The use of a spray paint or a traditional brush-on paint is completely up to you. If you have only one barrel and it is the smaller 35-gallon barrel, a spray paint may be your quickest and easiest option. However, I found that it can be difficult to create an even coating over the entire surface of the barrel, as well as getting into those small nooks and crannies on the top that I was talking about earlier with the spray paint. For that reason, I prefer using the brush-on paint. It does take a little bit longer, but I feel that it does a more effective job. no matter what paint you choose to use, make sure you follow the steps of primer, dark color paint, and then top coat.
Great. That was the last question that's come up so far. Are there any other questions? Oh, just kidding. There's one more. Will the rain chain still work if my roof doesn't have a V where the two sides meet?
I didn't quite catch that. It sounded like, will the rain chain still work if your roof doesn't have a V?
Yes, correct.
Yes, it will still work. It just won't catch as large a volume of water as it would if you're using a slope that uses two different surfaces. If you don't have a large spot on your roof where you can see water falling, then I would suggest buying a small diverter that you can screw into the soffit itself that will catch a little bit more water that comes from the different surface areas. They're very easy to find. Again, you can find them at Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's. And if you place them on the outer corner of your house, you can catch a lot more water than I ever expected. It really works well.
We have another question. Can you please describe the use of the pantyhose for
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So when you are placing the large square diverter into the gutter, an easy way is to use pantyhose. So you place the pantyhose over the diverter before you insert it into the gutter. And that prevents any mosquitoes from flying down the gutter itself and through the diverter into the barrel. You just slide the actual diverter itself all the way down to the toe of the pantyhose and insert it from there. Then secure the diverter using the screws and cut away any excess pantyhose that are still hanging outside the gutter. If you don't want to go with that route, you can also place a flat mesh screen on the horizontal portion of your gutter that is hanging on the roof where it meets the downspout. This does take a little bit more work because you have to get out the ladder and climb up into your gutters, but it also provides a wonderful opportunity to clean out the gutters in the first place and prevent any debris from falling down and blocking the water from entry into your rain barrel.
Great. Are there any other questions?
Well, if there are no more questions, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you all very much for participating in our first ever virtual rain barrel workshop. I think it was a wonderful success. Thank you all for working with us, scheduling your rain barrel pickup. You were all wonderful. And if anybody here would like more rain barrels, we do have periodic workshops, but the good news is you don't have to attend another just to get another rain barrel. All you have to do is send me an email and say I would like more rain barrels, and we will set up a time for you to come and pick some up.
Also, we have recorded this workshop as well, and Teddy will be sending it out shortly. So if you missed anything, you can go back and review.
Wonderful. Thank you all again, and good luck out there.
Thank you.
Bye now.